using a black fill, a black reflector to develop negative fill to absorb light is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Hey, welcome everyone. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to show you how I actually got the shot first using a black reflector to absorb light over here to develop this dramatic portrait. So let's come down here, and here's the simple setup. Now, and by the way, the description of how I did this, or I'm sorry, the website and how I did this is actually in the description below, so make sure you check that out, all right? So here it is. It was a simple setup. We had a black backdrop. The subject was placed right in the middle. Here's that black reflector I was talking about. And then over on this side was the light source. So the light is bouncing in, and as it's coming across the subject like this, instead of it just falling off to the end, and if I were to put, let's say, a silver or a white reflector on this side, that would bounce light back in, and that would make him look, that would give him that would actually put, let me put over here, that would actually give light onto him. So that's not what we want. We want to absorb it. So notice how this side of his face has more light than this side, and we're only using one light. If I position the light correctly, I can maneuver it around like this to where both sides would get not equal light, but you'll get enough light on the other side to bring out that side of the face. But what we wanted to do is a little bit differently, and that was add that negative fill. So again, by adding a black reflector into your shot, or it doesn't have to be a black reflector, it could be a foam core, it can be anything black that absorbs light. Bounce the light from the subject onto that reflector. That's going to absorb the light from the subject, and you're going to get more of a dramatic portrait. So that's how we got the shot. And again, this right here is in the description below. So if you want to read up on how I actually got the shot, I was thinking on my feet. This was during a workshop I did. I grabbed a hat from another person and brought this gentleman up and put the hat on him, set the light up quick, and then took a 5-in-1 reflector and just used the black part of it for the negative fill. So now, let's see how we're going to edit it. All right, so here's just one example on how I edited the image. Here's before, and here's after. Now, this is entirely up to you on how you want to do this. I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to hit revert to original. So here's the original. Now, you could start with a template, and already it's selecting a good black and white set. And here, I love Soulful. So Soulful is a good starting point. And already it's looking better. So we're getting the black that we're looking for, but it's still not as dramatic as I want it to be. So let's click Edit. And what I'm going to do is come over to Light. And if you don't see this here, click on it, and you'll see another drop-down menu. And then from here, we're going to enrich the black tones and bring out just a little bit of the white tones. Highlights, it's used, because look at his beard. It's absorbing too much light. So let's bring, look at that, the highlights way down. Now it's adding more character to his face. So we got it right about here. That looks good. All right. Now, with the black and white tool, notice red is going to play a key role. Look at that. So red is going to determine how bright his face is. So this is the luminosity part of it. So even though we converted and got rid of all the color is still there. The difference is we were converting it to black and white because the saturation is set to 0. So if I were to bump the saturation up, you'll see exactly where the red is in this photo. So we're going to use the luminosity of that just to convert the brightness of his face. Now, when you're dealing with black and white, details and structure have a lot to do with it. Over sharpening looks really good. So I'm going to bump up the mid details. Now the small details, and typically we need to zoom into at least 100% just so we can see the effect, and it's taking time to render. And the medium or the small details are just that. It's the fine details on the pixels. If you go overboard with it, then like right here, look at it. It's looking a little too pixelated. So we can either fix it here, or let's come down to the portrait tools. And, I'm sorry, skin. And with skin, I'm going to bump that up just a little bit more, just to smooth it out just a bit. I don't want to go overboard because remember, this is a man, and we kind of want him to look more rugged. So that looks good. And for his face, let's enhance the eyes. Let's pop a little lens flare in there and see how that works. That looks good. All right, so we're off to an incredible start. Now, let's finish it off with a vignette. This is going to tie the whole mood in. So, I mean, look how great it's looking on this side of his face and this side. Well, I'm going to put my center point right on his nose. And I'm going to dial this back. In fact, I'm going to move the center point up even higher. Ooh, that looks good. And I'm set. All right, and then obviously, well, I'll come in here, and this is screaming, in my opinion, to be an 8x10. So 4x8 is a good size, right there, and we're done. All right. So I mean, that was a quick edit. Let's give it a couple seconds, and it's really important that let it render for a little bit. It's really, really important to get the shot right in the camera first. Once we get the shot right in the camera, then fine-tuning it inside Luminar AI is just so much easier. So we're not using Luminar AI to repair the image. We're using it as a creative tool to make it look better. So in this case right here, like I said, I love how it came out. I would probably make it a little bit darker. In fact, let me go back. I have two monitors I'm working off of, and one monitor looks just right. This other monitor, there we go. I'm going to put it right about there. The other monitor looks a little too bright. All right, that looks good right there. All right, so let me just pop up some of the comments real quick. Let's see. All right, so Eric says he used Luminar in all of his work. It's his secret tool for quicker results. How can I make videos, for Latin people in Spanish and collaborate? Thank you, Elliot. Let me do this for a moment. Let me see if I have it set up. And I don't have it right here. I apologize. All right, so Elliot, do me a favor. Shoot me an email at Vanelli@skylum.com. In fact, let me put it in the chat. Vanelli@skylum.com. Shoot me an email. There you go. Shoot me an email and just remember what you wrote, what you're asking for, and I'll work with you on some of those video tutorials. All right? Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.